Mrs.AddiLee Harris is a widower who lives with her son and his wife. Her only shining star in this world is her grandson Ty, who is a cheating opportunist, whose wife refers to her granny-in-law old Mrs. Harris, and not exactly affectionately. To be precise, Mrs.AddiLee Harris had too much mouth, and too much time on her hands, and just when she was getting bored, next door, in moves a young couple, Brad and Tierney Anderson. At first AddiLee seems to be the perfect neighbor, but then she begins to find fault with everything the young couple does, and is forever filing complaints and dialing 9-1-1. Soon Brad and Tierney begin to wonder if they made a mistake moving in beside this elderly woman who seems to be straight from down below, because heaven would not want her, and hell couldn't hold her. AddiLee Harris. Gypsies, tramps, and thieves. People will tell you I am messy, I am people. But what they call messy I call alert. There is not one thing on Richard's Crest properties that I don't know about. I have been living with my son and his wife for more than 20 years, since my late husband passed away, and I have seen all manner of buffoons up and down this block, and trust many of these buffoonery moments have happened even within these walls, starting with my one and only grandson marrying that girl Sherry. She has a lot of attitude, and when I tell you within the first 6 weeks of their marriage they lived here while her dad put the complete touches on the house he was building them for a wedding gift, when I tell you that little uppity tomboy got on my last damn nerve, and frankly I was offended at the thought of her daddy just pissing on my wedding gift, a 5-piece oak bedroom set, in fact the same bedroom set they left in Tyler's old room when they moved into their Hickory Hill, and just like Ethel the other Mrs. Kennedy, Sherry sat upon the imaginary throne of her fiefdom, sitting so damn high she forgot to take care of her husband, which caused him to, start back cheating, except the last time, that I know of, he fooled around with another young girl of little brain or morals, Erin, who was still in high school. She got pregnant, then fooled Sherry into thinking she was Ty's cousin, whose family kicked her out, and Sherry, being a sneaky internet friend's only fool, invited the girl to live with her, and Ty, being so uppity that dumb pride took over, had she just confirmed it by either Ty, his parents, or even me, she would have known the girl was lying, and that my grandson would have been busted without as much heartache, but I handled it. I stepped in and paid the girl off, and sent her to a home for unwed side chicks. I came through for Sherry, just like when one of the workers helping to build their home was out sick. I was up early every damn morning, at Turner Grove in Lyman, South Carolina, picking up homeless men on back up my pickup truck who wanted work, dropped them off at the site and let them not only make money. I sped up the process of getting Sherry out of this damn house before I snapped her little scrawny neck. Yeah, she married my grandson, so she is family. I love her, I just don't like her much. And now that it seems all is quiet here, another problem looms forth. Next door, this little scrawny-looking Ebony Sunny and Cher-looking couple have moved in next door, and when I tell you after 2 weeks they began rubbing me the wrong way. There are only 2 of them, but at times there are so many people coming and going in and out of there that they have to be up to the devil's business. Amazon deliveries at least 4 times a week, and where do they work? Gypsies, tramps, and thieves, oh Lord, they are among us. Tierney. All that is missing is Abner Kravitz. When Brad and I first moved into our home, it seemed as if we had finally found a safe place for us to properly live and keep our profession and personal lives out of the public eye. I especially thought that if we stayed to ourselves, our neighbors would follow through. But I was wrong. The thing is, it is my fault this old wrinkled skin terror across the street began meddling in the lives of both my husband Brad and me, and as a new neighbor, I was only trying to be nice. See, the Harris family lives across the street, and the older couple, and Mr. Harris's mother. Anyway, I noticed Mr. Harris had just come home from the hospital after having an appendectomy. Seemed to be a nice man, and I figured maybe I should plan a small dinner party and invite them over. My goal was to be gracious, yet my determination was to get the info on this new neighborhood and potential clients, as for now all my clients lived in either North Carolina and Georgia, and it paid well also, so Brad and I knew if we could get new local clients, we would be perfectly set to move on to a new location if need be. So I ran the idea by Brad and he thought it would be a great idea. Hell, I didn't even object when they invited Ty and his wife Sherry along. Hell, she may turn out to be my moderator. But if so, I had to know I could trust her before I let her in on my profession. Brad and I do but enchantment injections, from our home and our clients drive a long way just to get their shots, and I must admit, I am hurting these ladies more than helping them in the long run, but by that time, I will continue to move untouched. She came across as nice from the beginning. In fact, the night they all came over for my neighborhood dinner party, she really began to show her true ways, and her rudeness began on real foul agenda. She obviously was bothered about the fact Sherry and I recognized each other due to the fact Sherry was a receptionist at McGee Dental, where I was a patient for more than 2 years, when Mrs.AddiLee referred to her granddaughter-in-law, and with disdain she referred to her as Sherry in a fake Bostonian accent because she said Sherry thinks she is Jacqueline, as in Kennedy, American royalty. So as our other neighbors, the Dodds and the Bakers had already arrived, so all we were missing were the Harris brood. And when they showed up, Mr. Gregg was in his battery-powered wheelchair, Mrs. Regina was standing at his side with a bottle of wine. Ty and Sherry was with them. Ty was helping his grandmother carry something, which it turned out was food she had already made, and expected me to serve it over what I had already prepared, but when she saw Sherry and I hugging and jumping up and down with sentiments such as "Jairol, I didn't know it was your house we were coming to." Sherry grinned. I replied, "Sista, you look radiant, welcome." It was then as we all went inside so I could introduce them to my husband, Mrs.AddiLee realized that this was a catered dinner and her victuals would be shipped right to the nearest soup kitchen in the morning. "Brad, you already know the Harris family, but this is Mr. and Mrs. Harris's son, Ty, and his wife, Sherry. She works at the dentist I use," I said to my husband. Ty looked around in amazement. "Wow, Brad, you really remodeled this house, it looks way cool." We extended the living room, and added a bigger kitchen, and added 3 additional bedrooms. My husband beamed as he shook hands with Ty. Before we could even get seated, Mrs.AddiLee started complaining about Sherry taking her meal into the kitchen and it would not be served, due to the meal I had brought in was enough for all the guests, whereas hers would not feed everyone. She finally shut up. Until we all sat down, she frowned at Mr. Dodd so hard, he must have felt it, because he looked up. "Miss Harris, you have something to say to me?" "Yes, I sure do, I was just gonna congratulate you is all," she said while gnawing on a chicken wing. "Oh really? On what?" "Just for being a changed man, and finally after 20 years of being married, you are starting to act like a married man." At that, Cheyenne Dodd looked up at her husband and saw his jaw clench. Mrs.AddiLee sucked her dentures and smirked, obviously she was here for the drama. "Mrs.AddiLee, I am not gonna curse you out, on the strength you know my mama," Reno Dodd said. "Hell, who don't know your mama? My son knew your mama at one time, his cousin, his best friend," she croaked, all the while eating food that she scoffed at earlier. Reno began to stand up, however, Greg Harris sort of managed to shut his mom up. And Sherry began to tell me how much she loves my home, so I decided to show her around, along with the other ladies. The 2 Mrs. Harrises stayed stoic at the kitchen table, and it was a good time for Sherry and my other neighbors to tell me how messy Mrs.AddiLee truly is. I mean, from stealing Amazon packages to making Ty's baby mama disappear. The other ladies and myself listened and became horrified as Sherry told us of how Ty was a womanizer, who got an underage girl pregnant, and the girl finding Sherry on Facebook, posing as Ty's black sheep cousin who was pregnant and homeless. Sherry, having a big heart, took her in. Ty was out of town on business for Sherry's dad, and when he got home, this chick Aaron was already living in his home. He was livid but went along with it, until the girl caused Sherry to have an abortion, telling her that she overheard Ty plans to leave Sherry if she got pregnant anytime soon. Once the granny gangsta heard about this pregnant cousin due to rumors of Ty being a soon-to-be daddy, they found Aaron, paid her to leave town when she doesn't keep her end of the bargain. Mrs.AddiLee made sure that she was found Aaron at Ty and Sherry's. Next thing you know, Aaron was shipped off somewhere. "Wow, Sherry," all 3 of us ladies said in unison. Before Sherry could reply, I heard Brad kicking Mrs.AddiLee out of our house. "Whoa, Brad, what is wrong?" I stammered. "Witchy Pooh here claimed to need to use the restroom, was sneaking around in our bedroom closet." Brad seethed. Ty was scolding his grandmother, however she was anxious as hell to get out of our house after being caught red-handed. but before she trampled over her wheelchair-bound son she sneered, "Don't work anywhere, fancy dinners, 3 cars, and a partridge in a pear tree. I can't wait to get y'all out of this neighborhood, you damn near 40 and 0 kids, drug-dealing asses, I can't wait." Sherry looked at me and shook her head. I finally asked, was it hard to forgive Ty after his cousin of mine fiasco? She said, "Girl, I simply went out and found myself a cousin too." We both cracked up. Later that night I checked my email. Mrs.AddiLee had forwarded 12 photos of my bedroom and tagged every damn neighbor on the block. Caption: "Fear thy neighbor, because something ain't right. Hashtag how you make your money. Hashtag street pharmacy. Hashtag neighborhood drug lords." I shook my head at this old bat, but still this could become a problem, one bigger than Mrs.AddiLee's mouth, but I won't tell Brad, and I hope none of the neighbors do either, because in our line of business, Brad could also make people disappear, and the way she showed her entire disrespectful ass, I may just have to let hubby put in that work, but at the moment, I am not trying to not have his back, because he just made a sloppy move, inviting Ty into our bag. First of all, after what Sherry spilled tonight, her husband is a baby-making hoe, and most of our clientele are female, and I did not want Sherry mad at me behind her own husband's wayward penis, because I really like Sherry, but, yeah, she can disappear too. AddiLee. I knew it, Lord, I knew it. Maddie, I am telling you, they running drugs and got a few hoes on the payroll, it looks to me, young gals in and out all day, but I never see the men during the day because I think they go in through the add-on part of the house, and you should see it, trashy. I said into the phone. What did it look like? I bet those quarter beds that vibrate in every room, mirrors on the ceiling. Maddie howled. It looked like a cross between a hoe house and a drug empire. AddiLee, you know I asked around about her. You know that boy was married before he met her, and she still went after him. I caught my breath. See, this is why I fool with Maddie, she is always gonna snoop around, damn. So she is a homewrecker. Well, she better not come for my Greg. I told Regina to watch her, and now you tell me they are swingers, Maddie? Maddie gasped. Hold up, AddiLee, that is not what I said, you just sound like you want Regina to whip her ass. She laughed. I should known she was high/low trash when she and Sherry know each other, you know them newly rich black folk born into a little bit of money, that is how Sherry got Ty. She waved a job at her dad's dealership, and a marriage license in the same hand, she is no good. I hissed. Maddie laughed. You mean she ain't good enough for your grandson, but he was the one out here making teenagers pregnant. Well, maybe if she... Maddie cut me off. Now AddiLee, don't be no hypocrite, your husband has 2 sets of kids too, and you stayed married to him until the day he died. She cackled. You damn right, because every week that whole check minus $150 was handed over to me, and every time he knocked a woman up, he would send me on a 2-week paid vacation whenever one of his chicks on the side went into labor. Marriage is for life, and I stayed for life, and when his life was over, I got his life insurance. See, I made damn sure he never had contact with or paid anything to the other kids, and trust it wasn't too hard to convince him. Maddie roared with laughter. AddiLee, I gotta go, you going straight to hell for that. I vacation there, I said before ending the call.